Hello, this is Nancy Vastine. I'm here again today to do a tutorial on carving stamps for Josie. Now Josie, what I want to start out to tell you is I sent you this thick foam stuff. Now this one, the Silly Winks that I sent you in the pink, is not as thick as this one. Can you see the difference in the thickness? But what we use these for is not to carve stamps out of. I guess you could cut this up and make shapes or whatever and glue it to something and make stamps. This is what I do with it, is I put the thin foamy stuff on here that has the designs on it or whatever I want to cut out and glue it to this so I have a cushion to stamp with. I think we discussed this before. Or also corrugated. See, corrugated, that's what we call corrugated cardboard. It's when it has those little things inside, because that gives you a soft surface. I save all of this. This is what my Posca pens came in, and it's got Chinese or Japanese writing on it, so I'm saving it to go in a book, in a journal. But anyway, I cut off pieces of this box and glue my foam that I've cut out to this also, which makes a cushion for stamping. Okay, now we got that out of the way, I'm going to set this aside and go into what we use for stamping. Hang on, I'll be back in a minute. Just hang on, I'm just going right over here. Okay, Josie, this is what I use to make my homemade stamps. And it's put out by Speedball. Just a minute, I gotta get a drink. Honey, would you get me another one out of the fridge? I'm almost empty. I need another drink. Okay, Speedball puts out, and this is rubber. And this one is a white, and it's really thick, and it carves like butter. What I've used in the past is a pink one, and I'm not sure, the pink rubber, it's not quite as thick. You see the difference? And it cuts okay. I like it also. And then they have a blue one, and I tried to cut out a stamp with this, and it's just really crumbly. I was going to try and use the other side and cut something instead of wasting this that I tried to cut out. But this is really hard to cut, in my opinion. It's real crumbly. I don't like that. So if you're looking online and you're going to buy stuff to carve stamps, do not get the blue stuff, the blue rubber. And it's put out by Speedball. You can look that up on the internet, Josie, and it will tell you everything. In fact, excuse me a minute, I'm opening up soda here, Diet Coke. Mary Atler, however you say her last name, you know what? I just forgot what I was going to say about her. Oh my goodness. Just, whew, right out of my brain. I'll think of it in a minute, maybe. Oh my goodness. See what Diet Coke does to you? It screws up your brain cells. Oh, I can't even think what I was going to say about her. I know it was something about, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I just don't know. But anyway, when you're looking online, it's called Speedball. And it's spelled Speedball. I know what I was going to say. She uses the gold paint from Silk Screening Paint that's put out by Speedball also. That's what I was going to say about her. Also, I save all my little pieces because you never know, you might want to carve out a little bitty stamp. Now, this is a tile. Do you hear that? It's a hard tile. My friend that has her little store here that's called Stampin' Buddies, she ordered these in, and because this is what she learned to stamp on. And I tried to carve on it. It's real easy. But I thought, I might finish this. I probably chose something that was quite out of my league to be carving on such a hard surface. But it's really hard. So make sure you don't get tiles when you're first learning how to do this, Josie. Do not get the tile. It's for, I think, really advanced people who know really how to do it. Anyway, so I carved this out of the white. This, the one that I have two. The other one I carved, I don't know what happened to it, but it was a sun. But I wanted the rays different, so it was one that I had drew myself. And this one I had a stencil. Oh, hang on. So I used this stencil and put it on here and drew on it and carved out my stamp. And that's how I did that. This is the one I wanted. So, anyway, that's how I carved that stamp. This is my box of stamps that I have carved. And, you know, they're unique because they're your own. I love them. You can design them however you want. Now, this is the pink one. Most of these are pink. Now, see, I mounted that on a piece of cardboard because it was just easier for me to stamp with it. This one I will probably mount on a piece of cardboard because it's just really thin and jiggly through here. And I might put it on a piece of foam. See how it does. These are just stamps that I've carved out. Now this is out of the blue stuff. And like I said, it carves okay, but it's real crumbly, in my opinion. Here's another one. I just wanted a line. And I mounted it on cardboard. Here's a bigger one that I just wanted a line around it. Anyway, so these are my collection of stamps that I've done. And it's just off of things that I have found. I need to go in and maybe refine this dragonfly a little bit. I forgot I had that in there. But anyway, I love my stamps because they're mine. You know, they're just mine. And these little pieces that are left over, you stamp on the end of them and you have a little square stamp. Anyway, just shows you, this is, the full. This I might mount on something too because it's kind of hard to stamp with it. Now these pieces are a little easier to stamp. Then I have a circle that I just mounted on a piece of cardboard. Okay, there's all my stamps so far that I have carved. So today I'm going to show you how to do this. And save the cardboard that you're... Now this comes in a little little square, or you can buy this big long. I always buy the big piece because, you know, it just lasts longer. Now, you always want to carve on something, a cutting board, something like so. And I found this little stencil out of some stencils I bought, so this is what we're going to carve today. I'm going to show you how to do this. This is a, and I don't know, you probably want to start out with something pretty easy and not something intricate like your face, a person's face. I've seen carved stuff like that. So I'm going to see how I can get my best without wasting so much. And I'm going to go in with a pencil and do it, and then probably I'll go in and re-outline it with a Sharpie, because when you put your hand on it, it sometimes loses its, you know, the pencil. And it's real easy to mark on. You want something kind of soft. Your pencil lead you want soft, not a pointy one. That's why I'm wondering about that Sharpie, if it's going to dig into my rubber here. Now, I don't think I would attempt to carve out foam. I know that I watched Barb Owens on Creating Faces. She tried out some foam that she bought, and it was a different kind of foam than the fun foam. She thought she could carve out stamps with it, and it really turned out to be a mess for her. Okay, you see that? Now I'm going to go around it with this Sharpie, just so I don't lose any. And I think I'm going to do my broken lines here. I'm going to connect them. Okay. I just want to let Victor know that I mailed his little booklet. They almost didn't take it at my little post office. I almost had to go to the big post office and do a customs tag on it, but I told him it was just a little pamphlet I was sending. But the envelope was 6 by 9 inch envelope, and they didn't know if that, and it just barely went through. Just barely went through, so I didn't have to go to the big post office, because this little one is at our hardware store, Ace Hardware, and they don't do custom tags there. I don't know why. They're just a tag. She said that it's because they don't have a computer to do it on. Well, I just filled it out with a pen. Okay, that's as good as that's gonna get. Now I'm gonna take my trusty musty little utility knife here. I could do it with my craft knife, but I'm going to do this, and I'm going to cut out around this, and it's kind of tough to carve, to go all the way through that, but I don't want to mess with this whole big piece. Okay, now let's put this away so I don't kill myself on it. Now, these are your carving tools that you're going to get. You need this from Speedball. This is too big of a, and you have your tools in here, your little carving knives. This one's too big. I want to start off with the small one, the real little one. My off camera, of course. Okay, and that just goes in there and sits in there. And And I just kind of set those over there while I'm carving, because you never know when I want to change. Okay, now I'm just gonna, what you do is you make a ditch. It's called a ditch. And you just go around. You kind of want your thing to be flat on there, but not, it's hard to say. But it just, and you just want to go real slow, and you want to move your rubber and not your tool here when you're doing this. And you're going to have all kinds of little crumbs. You just want to go around and around. Just take your time. Okay? And you're going to do it again. And you don't want to dig down in it. That's why it's real easy to carve, because you don't want to dig real deep into this. In fact, a lot of people use these and will make two stamps, one on one side and one on the other, because it's so thick. I've had a hard time finding this white stuff anywhere locally, and I didn't want to order it off the internet, but finally my little art store here, I asked them and they finally started carrying it for me. Probably not just for me, but other people. So, can you see? See how that's doing? You just keep doing it. Just keep going around. And like I said, it cuts like butter. And you want to make sure your fingers aren't in the way, because if you slip and go, which my finger's in the way right there, it should not be, but sometimes I'm just really careful. You don't want to slip and go, because these are really sharp and they will cut you. They'll jab into your finger really bad. Can you see what I'm doing here? Or do I need to zoom you in a little closer? Let me zoom you in. Hang on, hope I don't turn the camera off. Better? Okay. I think that might be a little bit better. I just keep going around, doing my ditch around this. I don't know what it is. Flower, whatever it is. I just thought it was cool looking. So, see, Josie, I don't think you can carve the foam. I don't know how you planned on making stamps with it, if you were just going to cut it out, or if you wanted to cut it out, you can make deeper, you know, stamps with it. But I find the sticky back stuff that I sent you makes great stamps. Just cutting the shapes out of them, whatever you want, and then mounting it on that thicker stuff. I'm just going to keep going around. And if you make a oops, oh well, it's, you know, they're handmade. They're, you know, they're not perfect. If we wanted them perfect, we would buy them. And it's really a relaxing thing to do, kind of like doodling. I have a book on carving stamps. I should have brought that out. Josie, I might send that to you for Christmas. Yeah, Josie, you might get another package from me for Christmas. It might be a book on how to carve stamps. You just never know what you're going to get from me. But I don't feel like you need to send me anything in return, girl. Just because I'm sending you stuff. I don't want you to ever feel like that. You can send me if you want, but don't ever feel like you have to repay me for what I'm sending you guys. That's Happy Mail, and I enjoy doing it. It gets rid of my crap that I have in all the stash and stock and hoarding stuff I have. And yes, Josie, I would love to have some of your Italian paper. And I would love to have little pieces of your fabrics. But I don't want you to feel like you have to go buy me stencils. And because you don't have to repay me that way. I would love to have some of those stencils. I love the stencil that I have. Yes, I know that it's thin, but I've used it with stenciling on paper in my journal. Okay, I've made my ditch around here. Now, I'm just kind of going back through and kind of making it a little deeper. See all these crumbs? I can get rid of this now. I can carve on this one here. This one's driving me crazy. I need to cut again. I'll get it back out. Okay, can you all see what I'm doing? I'm just going in and getting this one a little bit deeper. Okay. And I kind of take a brush, one of these brushes, I bought it, and kind of brush out that crummy stuff in there, see where I'm at. Okay, can you see? See, we got that carved out. Now we have to get rid of all the stuff around it. So there's still some I want to make. I want to make this one a little deeper. This is a kind of a addicting thing to do. And you can see that I am not making perfect circles. And you know what? I don't care. Because it's mine and it's not going to be perfect. And what I'm doing is I'm leaving, I'm not going to take anything out of the petals. I'm just going around, making them a little deeper, making my ditch is what they call it in the book, a little deeper around it. Just defining it a little bit. And yep, these are, oh, I have to tell you what little Belle did. She got out the back door. Now, mind you, she has been outside in the backyard, and she's been out there with me, and she's been out there with my husband, and she's always come back when you call her. She's always stuck around, never gone away from you. She's always stayed real close and what have you. And you got to remember, we have wild animals around here. We have deer. We have woods behind us. As you saw in the video, we have woods. And we have deer, we have coyotes, we have all kinds of things that live down in those woods. And the deer come out most of the time during the day. Whenever they feel like it, they come out. Anyway, she got out. My husband smokes, and so he smokes outside. And, but I was out there taking her piddle pads out to her garbage can that's outside. And she just darted out and just took off. And she would not come back. She was interested in the snow. She was interested in going over to the neighbor's house. And when you called her name, she ignored you. She was just being a real piddle-poo. And, you know, she wouldn't come to my husband's calling her. She wouldn't come to mine. My husband plays a harmonica, and she howls to that harmonica. And I told him to get his harmonica out. She even ignored that. She didn't even come to that. And she was just going around eating the snow and playing and running, and which was fine, but I was afraid she would take off and get in the street and get lost or, you know, whatever. And so I went out there with one of her squeaky toys, and she'd play cat and mouse with me. She'd come to the toy, and as soon as she'd get close enough for me to get a hold of her, she'd run. She was really making me mad because I was still in my pajamas, hadn't got dressed yet. I had put my shoes on, put a little bitty jacket on, and I was out there freezing my you-know-what off. And she was making me so angry. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change my my little knife here and get a little bit bigger one to carve out all this stuff around us. Anyway, sometimes this little thing doesn't want to come out right. Anyway, she was making me very angry. Very angry. So finally I said, phooey on her. I'm going in the house. I'm tired of chasing her. And, you know, so she finally came in, and oh, I was so mad at her. I could have chewed her up and spit her up. Okay, now when you're changing to a bigger size, remember it's going to take out more of your rubber, and there's a chance that you could ruin your thing. So you have to be your design. So you have to be really careful how you do this. And like I said, you have to just go really slow. But this cuts just like butter. Just like butter. And you want to close to those and just cut out around. Just keep going. And yeah, that was my experience with Belle. And I was just going to come in the house and just leave her out there.